everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 157 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series, where I have a really big problem. A really monumentally enlarged problem. Last episode, I discovered that there is a massive infestation of these goo blocks from a mod that I don't know how it got added to my pack, but it's called the Anti-Goo mod, and my suspicion is a couple episodes endermen were all dancing around my base doing something weird, and I couldn't figure out where they were coming from and how they got here and what they were doing. But then a couple episodes go by, and suddenly this stuff is everywhere, and it looks like it's spreading. So if you watch closely here, it is really just kind of spreading all over the place. And it's not good. It's heading towards my mob spawners right now. It's going to start consuming, and it eats through blocks like nobody's business. Now, luckily, last episode, I discovered that if you break the blocks, it drops some kind of goo residue. So we can easily break these blocks, and the residue we can use to turn into anti-goo dust with redstone. So redstone in some way, shape, or form interacts with this goo residue, and the first item that I decided to make from it, and if we look up this Anti-Goo mod, we'll see that the first item I decided to make was the Goo Remover. And what that does is if we shoot it at the goo, it dissolves it, which is cool. And the better part of this is if the goo is eating a block and we shoot it at it, then we get that block back. So that's pretty exciting. So it means like there's a way back from this. Whatever the enderman did, there's 100% a way back from this mess. But look, it's like it's consuming this whole area as we speak. This is bad times for sure. It's going to start eating into my drawers, into my refined storage. I think it just ate it just ate this, right? Wasn't this like a connector for refined storage? Yes. All right, cool. Well, that's good news. That thing's back now. So that's exciting. Okay, well, that's good at least. We got that back. Look, it's eating my drawers. It's eating into my storage drawers. It's consuming them. Will I get those things back? I do. All right, good. The storage drawers return as well. So that's nice. That's good to know. And they still have their resources in them? Yeah, they do. Nice. All right, cool. Well, if there's one saving grace, we know that there's a way back from this mess that's being created. But something somehow happened, and it's bad. It is bad news. Oh, dude, it's growing inside this cave. That's terrifying. That's terrifying for sure. There's just so much of it, and it's spreading so quickly. There's no way with this one little pellet gun that I've got that we're going to be able to remove all this stuff. So we're going to have to figure out if there's... Wow. Remember last episode? I was checking out... Oh man, this is bad news right here. I was checking out... It's about to consume my animal farm. Look, it's letting my animals out of the farm because it's eating through the fences and the animals can climb over them now. That is a bad time. This is all around bad news. Oh, dude. It's about to consume some of the create multi-blocks. Curious what's going to happen to create when this gets eaten. I am not prepared. Scared. A little bit nervous. I think what we need to absolutely prioritize right now is figuring out what else we can do with this goo residue to maybe help fight back against this goo that's happening here. So let's head into our base. Before we have too much of a crazy problem, let's look at the goo mod and figure out what we can make. So what's this stuff? Anti-Goo Paste. So it's clay and the anti-goo dust. What does this stuff do? I have no idea. Can I put it on the goo? Nope, it doesn't do anything to remove the goo. It's Anti-Goo Paste. Interesting. Okay, if I click it on a block, the block turns green. All right, well, that's good to know. But it only shows the green when I'm holding the paste. Interesting. Interesting. Uh-oh. It just ate, look, it just ate this thing. All right, if we remove it, will it go back to working? Oh, look, it worked. It worked. The create block went back to functioning. That's good. That's good news. Okay. So Anti-Goo Paste. What I'm noticing is... Can I put it on these two blocks? What I'm noticing is these 5 blocks that I placed it on aren't being eaten by the goo at the moment. I wonder if Anti-Goo Paste prevents a block from being eaten. That might be useful. That might be useful. Should I coat my house in that stuff? That seems like a lot is going to be needed. We're going to need a lot of this stuff. Now, my concern is, like, for example, we want to be careful about what blocks we break, because if I melt the goo, I get my grass block back, right? But if I just break it, I'm not getting the grass block back. So don't, for example, break the goo if it's eaten something that you care about. That's an important note. But yeah, look, these blocks have still not been eaten. That's kind of good. Well, it's getting late here. Let's sleep through the night. I feel like we're in kind of a crisis mode right now because this stuff is spreading fast. The problem with a mechanic like this is the more of it there is, the faster it's going to spread, right? Like, just think about it, right? If there's 1 block, it's going to spread, but if there's like 50 blocks, it's going to spread 50 times faster. And if there's 100 blocks, oh man, there's more of it over here? That's luckily a small amount of it, so that's cool. But yeah, so far, it has yet to eat any of the blocks that I've protected, so that's kind of good news. That's kind of good news. Okay. All right, well, let's see what other defenses we can build. Let's see what else we got here from this goo stuff. Let's get as much anti-goo paste as we can. We're going to want a bunch of more anti-goo residue. That sounds like a good time. What do we got for machines? So there's goo nades and freezing goo nades. All right, that looks cool. So a melting core. I think that melts the goo. And then a goo nade. And then there's a freezing goo nade, which needs a freezing core, which needs blocks of ice. All right, how am I going to get like a decent amount of ice blocks here? Didn't I make... I'm going to turn you into... What are the recipes for the blast chiller? Can I make blocks of ice with you? I can without one of these. So no doohickey. We're going to need a healthy amount of ice here, so I'm going to snag an augment. Induction smelter, you're mine now. Give me ice. Freezing goo nades, you say. Alright, let's go see what the goo nade does. Oh man, check this out. This area is consumed in a bad way. Where's that goo paste? Yeah, look, it still hasn't eaten through any of the blocks that I've protected, so that's kind of cool. So what's a goo nade do? Let's experiment. I'm just going to throw it, I guess, with a right click. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. It melts like a big old area of the goo. That's nice. Okay. I'm down with that. Oh, check that out. That is neat. Now, what about freezing goo nade? What's this do? Whoosh. Oh, dude, did it freeze the goo? Is that going to prevent it from spreading? That'll be nice. Okay. So maybe that stops it from spreading? I'm down with that. Oh, it freezes a big area, too. But this goo has already spread way too much. Like, I caught this way too late. So is this goo frozen forever now? I have no idea. So the unfrozen goo is still spreading. That's interesting. I wonder if there's something... Frozen 3 is... Oh, hold on. This one says Frozen 2. Frozen 3, huh? And Frozen 2? Looks like there's different levels of frozenness. I wonder if it doesn't last forever. These guys are frozen 0. I feel like maybe this doesn't last forever. Oh, this one's frozen 1. I think it thaws eventually. I think the goo will eventually thaw. That would be my theory. Because some of these are frozen 1. Look at that. Interesting. Oh, hold on. Wasn't this one frozen a second ago? Yeah, it was. Okay, so it does eventually unfreeze. So that freezing mechanic is temporary. That's bad news, bears. We need to protect our main base, though. We need to find a way to make sure this goo doesn't eat our base, and that's going to be kind of our highest priority right now. There's blocks here. There's blocks here in this mod. So what else do we have? Goo Scanner. I want to look at the items first real quick. So there's a Goo Zapper, which looks like a beefier version of the Goo Remover. We're going to check that out. Let's put that on our to-do list. No more Physiolitic Prime. I'm not worried about the Ender Dragon at the moment. Goo Scanner. We're going to want to check that out. And then there's some crystals. Basic, Improved, Powerful, and Extreme Focus Crystals. And then Basic, Improved, Powerful, and Extreme Power Amplifiers. Okay. There's some kind of GNT. It looks like TNT. Looks like there's two kinds of goo. There's goo and terrain goo. And then there's poisoned goo. Goo Turret. Goo Zapper Turret. Anti-Goo Field Generator. Anti-Goo Beacon. Goo Elimination Field Generator. Goo Detector. Let's look at the recipes for some of these things. So I think Goo Scanner. I'm just curious what this does. It needs an Eye of Ender, huh? Looks pretty simple. How does this thing work? When in doubt, right-click it. Too much goo to render. Look at that on the bottom of the screen. 383,034? Oh, look at this. Hold on. There's more goo over here that I didn't see. It's hiding in the forest. That's weird. You know what it does? It shows you the goo through blocks. That's what it does. Look at this. If you right-click it, it'll render the goo through blocks. And you can see it spreading underground. That's cool. Okay. But over here, there's too much goo to render. But it does give you the count of how much is nearby. So there's currently 387,000 goo blocks in this area. That's a lot. That's a big number. That is not a small number. That is a very big number. That is a terrifying number. And how fast is this stuff spreading? I wonder if I can use the scanner to detect that. 391,000? What? Did we just gain 20,000 goo blocks since this last time I scanned? 393,000? 394,000? This stuff is spreading out of control. Dudes. 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 Problem. That is faster than I really thought it was going to be. That is really spreading. Well, no, I kind of want to hang on to that thing just to be prepared. Let's put away this other stuff that we don't need at the moment. Holy cow. So we're going to definitely have to figure out protection. Anti-Goo Beacon. That looks pretty simple. Anti-Goo Field Gen. That looks a lot more complicated. Let's look at the more basic version. They look very similar. They definitely look similar. So I'm going to take the more basic version of it and see what it does. Anti-Goo Beacon. Maybe this will destroy some nearby goos. What does it do? Anti-Goo Beacon. It just has a little spot in it. Maybe it accepts redstone, or maybe this anti-goo dust. It definitely looks like redstone. No, it won't let me put redstone in the slot. How about this goo dust? Oh, fuel time remaining. Okay, what's that do? What do we think this does? I don't know, but I'll tell you what. I'm gonna need a lot more goo residue. Okay, I'm gonna need a lot more goo residue. Whatever this does, we're gonna need more. So let's put this all in here. Get some more anti-goo dust. Okay, looking good. So it looks like this goo dust lasts for a little bit of time. Now what I will say is I haven't seen any goo spread around this recently. That one spread. Okay. These are spreading up here. But in the immediate vicinity, I haven't seen any. So Anti-Goo Beacon, maybe what it does is it prevents goo spread around it? It seems to have a pretty short range, though. Uh-oh, some things are popping off over here. Looks like my furnace engine popped off. Probably because the block under it turned into... Yeah, let's get some more goo-nades. We definitely want to make sure that we have those on our list to have some of. I wonder how high these stack. Well, at least up to 8. That's cool. Just gonna melt a bunch of this stuff. So the good news is it looks like it's actually... All my stuff is still intact under here. Holy cow, did I burn through those 8 goo-nades really fast. Holy cow, did I burn through that fast. That is a scary time. And I think the furnace engine popped off here because this block turned from a furnace into goo. That makes sense. Oh no, are you getting into my mob spawner now? That's gonna be bad real soon. Yeah, look, there's a little bit on the floor of the mob spawner. It's eating into it. Bad news bears. Alright, what about this goo beacon thing? Yeah, if you look here, none of the goo has spread into nearby the anti-goo beacon. So it must have a... I mean, it didn't remove goo, but it prevented goo from spreading into the area. That's my theory on what that thing does. So if that's the cheaper version of that block, just from looking at the recipes, I got to imagine that the higher tier version of it is the anti-goo field generator, because that needs a block of diamonds instead of a single diamond. And it needs some gold instead of iron. So this feels like a second tier version of that. So let's come over here and place it nearby. So what do you got? Oh, you've got a complicated UI. Energy, so that might need flux power. Flux point provides energy to adjacent blocks. Direwolf 20's network. Alright, that's cool. RF cost per tick, 1, and then render false, active false. And then northeast, up, southwest, down. Okay. This is a thing. 777? I don't know, I'm just making this up as we go. 777. Render true. Alright. So that draws a big old box when we render it. And then if I bring the up version... Okay, yeah, look. See the line moving up and down? Okay, that's cool. RF costs 3.4 thousand RF a tick. Holy cow. That's a lot. Active true. All right, it doesn't seem to be removing the goo. I'm going to get rid of you, though. Because my theory is, if my theory is correct, this will prevent goo from spreading within this area of effect. How high does this go? 25 blocks in all directions? For a cost of 132,000 RF a tick. That's a lot. That's a lot, so I'm going to keep it at like the smaller number of 7. Okay, and that's sitting around 3,000 RF a tick. So it's expensive, but my theory is that it'll prevent goo from spreading inside this area. So how can I validate that? What I could do is remove with goo-nades. Okay. Melting cores. Just going to get a bunch of goo-nades here. Ah, so 8 is the number that it stacks up to. Cool. So if I were to throw a bunch of goo-nades into this thing, if my theory's correct, then goo won't spread inside this area of effect that's being rendered at the moment. And this might be a nice way to protect our main base. Okay? This might be a good plan. What's my scanner telling me at the moment? A lot. Scanner's telling me a very big number. It is all over the place. A mess. Bad times, my friends. Bad times. But maybe this is a good way to protect my base. Because I'm watching this spread. What's that noise? Seems weird. Oh, it's air pressure leaking. The goo's down here. Holy cow, that's bad times. Holy cow, that's bad times. Alright, well that sort of fixed it. Ah, fixed. Our pressurized spawner was eaten by goo. That's not good. Where's that Anti-Goo Beacon thing? Maybe I want to protect my pressurization thing. Anti-Goo Beacon. Now remember, this needs to be fed goo dust. Do you think a hopper works on this thing? I guess we'll find out. I mean, so the basic one doesn't require power. The more advanced one does. I'm just going to test the hopper mechanic. Yeah, no, hopper seems to be working, so that's good news. So hopefully this will prevent... I'm like, what is this weird sound that I'm hearing? And the answer came to me. It was our air pressure leaking. Alright, cool. So we're definitely forming some kind of border here. And this little block that I've left alone doesn't seem to be spreading. So anything within this field, the goo can't spread inside the field. I think that's what I'm seeing. We're gonna let this go for a few seconds here and test out a few other things. But if this is true, then I'm probably gonna like protect my base with one of these field generator things. Cool? Cool? I think that's a plan. I think that's a plan. So let's check out some of these other blocks. There's a goo turret. This needs a goo detector. Okay. Goo turret needs goo detector. And then the turret itself needs another one of these melting cores. What's this do? There's 3 slots here, but if you look at them closely, you can see that they kind of look like these things. And there's an RF connector. Okay, cool. So I'm guessing we're going to need either a freezing or a melting core. And then maybe some of the anti-goo dust, and maybe some power amplifiers? So let's see what these are all about. So power amplifier, we're going to do a basic one, and then an improved one. And then a powerful one. So this needs an emerald. And the extreme one needs an ender star, or another star. So yes, okay, cool. So there's multiple tiers of this, which I'm guessing do something. And then we're gonna need some anti-goo dust, and then we're gonna need another core, right? Either a melting core or a freezing core. Am I right to think that this, yeah, these things all fit in here. So that's cool. Let's go put this goo zapper turret thing over near the goo and see what it does. So look, still nothing spreading in here. So that's cool. That is cool. So I'm going to place this zapper turret down here and see what it does. Goo turret. Connect you to the network. Give you the melting core and the basic power amplifier. Oh, what did... Oh, hello. It's doing stuff. Nice. Oh, it's melting the goo nearby it. Okay, it's zapping. Okay, cool. No, it's shooting the goo. Then what is this slot for? What do we need this for? If we put some anti-goo dust in there? Boost shots remaining. Oh, it's shooting way faster. Oh, check that out. It shoots way faster. That's cool. So it'll shoot by itself without ammo, but if you give it anti-goo dust, that's pretty neat. You know what I don't need to hear right now is you guys. Oh my goodness, that is a mess. We've got a mess down here, folks. We have got a big time mess down here. Let's get Slimer dudes not happening anymore if we can. So yeah, how's this zapper turret doing? He's doing pretty good actually. He stopped firing, so I'm guessing that's the maximum range that he can do. But maybe the basic power amplifier adjusts that range. Oh yes, look at this. Haha, now he's shooting in a larger area of effect. Okay, so the melting core melts all the goo, right? The anti-goo dust does its thing. It makes things shoot faster, but it doesn't last very long, as you can see. It tells you how many shots remain. What is it, like? Yeah, it's not bad. And then it slows down again. So it keeps shooting without the ammo, but it shoots faster with ammo, which is nice. Okay. And I'm assuming this uses less RF than the protection field. So there's two things we can do. We can either protect our base with the anti-field generator, or we can throw a goo turret nearby, and it'll clear goo in a nice area of effect. That's kind of cool. And this goo clearing also gives you your blocks back, which is neat. Not too shabby. Can I rats this? Asking for a friend? It seems to be working. It seems to be working with the rats. I'm going to put the powerful amp in there. And I'm going to get more anti-goo dust. I want to see how fast this goes with both rats. Oh yeah, he's shooting like crazy now with a rat on top of him. Nice. Can he even keep up? I guess would be the main question. This is bad news bears right here. It's definitely getting dark and creepy. Better sleep through this night. I hope the goo doesn't eat my bed. Alright, so, I mean, the turret's pretty neat. It's definitely zapping the goo for me, which is nice. Boy, does it burn through that anti-goo dust quickly. Look, some of the goo is still frozen from before, so I guess its melting chance is pretty random. Now, speaking of frozen, if we replace you with a freezing core... Oh, check that out! It shoots a blue laser now. That is cool. And it looks like it's freezing the goo inside its area of effect, which is nice. Alright. So what if I sped you up with some anti-goo dust? We're definitely going to need a lot of this stuff. We're definitely going to need a lot of this stuff, right? Goodness gracious. We have a lot of junk in our inventory at the moment, folks. Shafts and all kinds of things that have broken as a result of this goo eating bits of the world. Bad times. Alright, you into here again. That should be cool. I'm going to keep you on my to-do list so that I have easy access to that recipe lookup. But yeah, with the rat sitting here and the boost shots, wow, it shoots like crazy fast. That is cool. So it looks like it's keeping all the goo nearby it frozen, which I appreciate. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Look at those cool little ice crystals dropping off. I like that. That's awesome. All right. And look, it's not firing when there's goo that doesn't need to be frozen. That's even better. So that tells me that it's a pretty conservative way of handling it, right? So like if the goo melts nearby, it'll refreeze it, but it won't shoot if it doesn't have to, which is awesome. Which is awesome. And look, we can. I think I'm safe to say here that this thing is working exactly how I thought it would. The anti-field gen is definitely protecting this. All right, so we've got some idea of how these protection things work. So having turrets is cool. We're gonna have to figure out what other options we've got though, because there's still some things we haven't investigated. Let's make a to-do list of things we haven't seen. The zappers, something we haven't seen yet. The TNT stuff we haven't seen. The goo zapper turret we haven't done. So the turret we did, the zapper turret we didn't. Anti-field, yes. Anti-Goo Beacon, yes. Goo elimination field generator. Recommended to only have one per world. Also, haven't tried yet. Goo detector. I think that was just making the thing. So that's kind of cool. What else haven't we tried yet? We haven't seen a use for these focus crystals yet. But I'm guessing they look like they're just items. So let's check out the TNT. There's 3 or 4 different levels of it. Basic GNT, improved GNT. So the only difference in the recipes here is the power amplifier. Okay. Okay. That's a thing. What's interesting is the TNT uses both kinds of core. Well, I think at this point, we've learned a bit about this goo. Where's my scanner? I'm just curious where we at. Remember it was a hereish that we were scanning? We're at 846,000 blocks of goo. So that's very much consuming my world. Holy cow, look at that stuff. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. This goo doesn't seem to be spreading that much, and I wonder if that's a result of like chunk loading. Though I'm not that far away, right? This stuff is loading. This stuff is definitely spreading a bit. Oh, there's more batches of it over here. It's kind of all around the place. So that's interesting. Very weird. I wonder if it's because of chunk loading. Maybe these things are outside the loaded chunk area, so they're not spreading as much. Like, it's definitely spreading a little bit, but not nearly as much. We're going to need to find a more massive way to destroy this stuff, so I'm hoping... What's involved in making the goo zapper? Ooh, that needs netherite ingots. Yeah, maybe this thing is super good. We're going to figure this out next episode. So let's wrap up here. We'll come back next episode, check out some of these more advanced goo removal techniques, hopefully. There's a zapper turret. There's some TNT type stuff. There's a big zapper. Maybe we have something in our arsenal here that will help us. But look, this thing is 100% preventing goo spread within its area. This goo hasn't moved at all. And it's basically building all around the field gen. That's kind of cool. It's really neat, isn't it? It's cool to see because you can literally see the wall. It's creating a flat surface here because the goo is allowed to spread outside the barrier but not inside. So it kind of just forms all around it. And this is goo that was there originally from before, right? So nice little removals. Looking good. All right, so wrapping up point for the episode. Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll come back next time and see what we can see. Hopefully we can survive this apocalypse. All right, guys, take it easy.